My wife created a fake Tinder account to test if I'd cheat. But when I replied, the game turned into something we couldn't control. She broke my trust, so I broke the rules. My name's Chris, I'm 32, and yes, I matched with a fake profile, created by my own wife. I never imagined our marriage would take this turn. My wife, Rebecca, 30, is a lawyer. Sharp, ambitious, fiercely intelligent. We've been married for 8 years, and thing was solid, or so I thought. It all started last Wednesday evening. I had just finished a late conference call for work. I'd barely sat down for dinner when my phone buzzed. A Tinder match. The photo, dark hair, green eyes, a mischievous smirk, looked vaguely familiar. We started chatting. She was witty and flirty, playful but not inappropriate. My curiosity got the better of me. She asked, "What's your life like?" I told her about work, about Rebecca, about our house and weekend hikes. She joked, "Sounds nice. Married guy? I bet she's nothing like you describe." I laughed, thinking it was a dating bot playing mind games. We chatted for 2 days. Texts in the morning, flirty jokes. Nothing too heavy, just enough to spark dopamine. I didn't feel guilty until she asked how I would react if someone I loved was talking to strangers behind my back. That message hit me like a punch. My mind raced. What if? I asked her about the message. She laughed it off. Jealous much? I'm just seeing what you do. That phrase echoed in my head. On Friday morning, I said to Rebecca, "Hey, do you mind if I check my Sugar app for updates during the day?" She looked confused, but said okay. I scrolled through the app casually, relieved to see nothing new. That night, Rebecca came home from work unusually early, her heels clicking in the hallway. She smiled, handed me an iPad with Tinder open. "Found her," she said calmly. I stared, puzzled. She tapped on her own photo. "It's me." My stomach dropped. A fake profile. She created it. To test me, to see if I would cheat. For 2 days, she'd been texting me, making conversation, teasing, playing. I felt a rush. First, anger. Then, confusion. Why? What was she expecting? And why did I reply? That's when I realized this wouldn't just be a weird story to laugh about at parties. Something deeper, something sharp and unraveling was about to start. The next morning, I woke earlier than usual. My head was pounding, not from the fake match but from the questions swirling in my mind. Why did she do it? What was she looking for? Instead of breakfast, I brewed coffee and opened my laptop. My thumb hovered over Tinder, but I didn't swipe. I wanted clarity, not more confusion. Part of me wanted to confront Rebecca on the spot, to demand answers. But another part wondered if that would make me seem irrational, insecure. I paced the kitchen, sipping my coffee, trying to piece together her motives. That afternoon, I decided to set a subtle trap. I created a second fake profile on a different app. No photo, minimal details, just enough to pique interest. Then I deliberately let it sit unattended on the table where I knew she'd see it. That night, Rebecca came home late. But not late because of work. There was a flicker in her eyes when she passed my phone. She didn't ask, but I felt it. She had seen the profile while making coffee. I stayed quiet. After dinner, we were watching a documentary in the living room. I noticed she kept glancing at my phone, fingers tapping on the coffee table. My heart started racing, but I stayed calm. I decided to break the silence. "That app? It's new. Just testing it." My voice steady. She looked at me, eyes narrowing. "Testing it? For what?" "Curiosity," I said. "Wanted to see how it feels, to be invisible, to just start fresh." I let it hang there. She stared for a beat, silence stretching. Then slowly she said, "So, you're hunting for attention now?" I shrugged. "Maybe." But I didn't reply, didn't message anyone. I held her gaze. She looked away, jaw tight. Then she stood. "I didn't expect this type of game." "I didn't expect your game either," I replied softly. "You set me up so you could test me. Now, I'm testing you." There it was, the shift. The energy changed. That night, Sleep was impossible. I lay next to Rebecca, pretending to be asleep. When I heard her phone buzz, I stayed frozen. She picked it up quietly and swiped open the app. Flicked through messages. I could only see her silhouette. At 2 a.m., she turned on the light and whispered, "Tell me, did you reply to her?" My heart pounded. "No," I said. "I didn't." Her voice cracked. "I just wanted to know, Chris." I realized then, neither of us knew why anymore. So the war began. Not one of anger, but one of truth. Each testing the other, guardrails dropped, and trust, well, trust was disappearing fast. That same night, after the 2 a.m. revelation, we moved to the living room. Dim lights, half-cleaned dishes, a tension that felt thick enough to cut through with a knife. Rebecca sat on the sofa, knees pulled in, her posture small. I stared at her, trying to say what twisted inside me. Betrayal, confusion, frustration. "You created the account," I said quietly, "because you didn't believe me." Her eyes filled with tears. I needed proof. I was scared. "Scared of what?" I asked, voice low. She looked down. "That you were bored. That you wanted more than our life." I sank into the armchair. My anger flickered. "So you became someone else online? To test me? To prove something?" Rebecca nodded. "And I'm sorry. It felt like the only way." "Only way?" I repeated sharply. "You hid behind lies. You tested our marriage with deception." She paused, wiped a tear. "I thought I was doing it for us, not to hurt." "You hurt me," I said, "deeply. And then you expected me to talk to another person, a stranger, to validate our marriage?" I saw her whole body tremble. "It wasn't about them," she whispered. "It was about you, about me, about us." We both sat in silence. The night dragged. Finally, she looked me straight in the eyes. "You played along. You responded. Why?" My throat tightened. I was hurt. I was wounded too. When you lied, I felt we were already at war. I thought, if I respond, maybe I can show you what it feels like. Anguish hit her face. "You hurt me back?" "Yes," I said. "I wanted you to feel it. Maybe then we'd both see how far this could go." We both took a breath, shorter and sharper than before. "This is a mess," I said. "And it's not going away until we dig up why trust failed us." Rebecca stood. "I'm scared of what we might break even more." I looked at her. "Then we start talking. No games, no tests." She nodded, tears falling. "Okay." I reached out and held her hand. It trembled, like both of us were stepping on glass. In that moment, I realized the fight wasn't against each other. It was against the silence, the doubts, the fear. The war had begun, but maybe the battlefield was also the path to healing. The next morning, silence was deafening. We didn't even speak over coffee. Words felt inadequate. So I decided it was time to act. At 9 a.m., I picked up Rebecca's phone under the pretense of helping her set it up. I opened the app, found my fake profile still logged in, unread messages laying there, bait, evidence, chaos. I wrote one message from that profile. "Hey Chris, I need to know who I am talking to. You or her." I sent it. Then I handed the phone to Rebecca. Her face went pale as she read it. Tears welled up. This wasn't just confrontation. It was mirror holding. She looked up, voice trembling. "I didn't expect you'd do that." I met her eyes. "I needed you to see how it feels when the line breaks, when trust fractures." She swallowed. I hate this game." "Then stop playing," I said. "We're both in it. It's not about winning. It's about seeing the real truth." Long silence followed. Then she said, barely a whisper, "Tell me, did you mean it?" I saw her vulnerability fracture mine. "Yes." My voice steadied. "Because I love you, and I hate that this is how we find out." She closed her eyes, closed her phone. We sat there, hands just inches apart. Then she stood up, came over and grabbed my hand. We didn't hug. Too complicated for that moment. But her fingers were warm around mine. She whispered, "Let's stop pretending. Let's rebuild this." Honestly, I nodded. No more tests. No more deception. We both exhaled. Together. In the days that followed, the air between us was fragile, like glass just sewn back together. Rebecca and I slept in separate rooms for 2 nights. Not out of anger, but because the wounds felt too raw for closeness. We needed space to breathe. We didn't know what to say over breakfast. But I crafted an invitation. A date night at our favorite little Italian place. Intentional, face to face. No pretending, no masks. Just us. When she said yes, I realized we both needed permission to try again. We didn't sit down and create a roadmap. Instead, we rebuilt with micro-moments. Mornings began with honest check-ins instead of good mornings. Work stress was talked about. Insecurity wasn't swept aside. It was named, owned, and validated. Rebecca changed her phone passcode and showed me the new version. I did the same. We shared our locations out of choice, not suspicion. It felt foreign, like leasing a new apartment after eviction, but necessary. A week later, we were invited to a friend's game night. We laughed for real. No guilt, no second guessing. Just connection. Rebecca leaned in during Uno, lightly brushed her hand on mine and whispered, "Thank you." That sound was worth more than 1,000 apologies. At night, we started keeping a truth jar. A jar where we write a note about something we felt. Anything at all. A gratitude, a fear, a compliment. Each evening before bed, we shared one. Some nights the jar was full, other times it was empty. But therapy told us that building trust is less about addresses and more about shared vulnerability. I watched her reading Jeannie's Truth in Love newsletter on her tablet, showing me an article about rebuilding after betrayal. I sent it to her first thing next morning. She texted back, "Let's read it together." My heart twisted. I'm still not naive. A month in, I sometimes wake up gripping her hand until I'm sure she's there. But those mornings are getting fewer, and she squeezes back. We haven't decided on a family vacation yet, but we're talking about summer road trips. Not perfect, not Instagram ready, just forward. Our rules are simple now. Honesty in texts, no secrets, daily gratitude, not just apologies. We're raising the stakes of love, not hiding from them. We know we're not healed, but we're together. And sometimes that matters more than inflamed wounds or broken trust. It's been 6 weeks since the night of the fake profile war. We didn't sweep it under the rug, but something unexpected happened. We started hearing each other again. Rebecca and I now wrap up every evening with grace minutes, moments where we share one thing we appreciate about the day. We've replaced accusations with affirmations, and it's a small shift, but it's working. She's also engaged a therapist, and we've begun couple sessions. No more games. We unpack why she felt insecure, why I responded, and how vulnerable both of us have become. Last weekend we went hiking, just the two of us, no distractions. At the summit, she took my hand, squeezed, and quietly said, "Thank you for fighting for us." It wasn't a declaration, it was truth. Our truth. We're not patched up. We're a new build, brick by brick, on a foundation of honesty. There will be rough days. I still glance at her phone sometimes, anxious. But we feel anything else would be worse. Here's the question we want to put to you, Reddit, YouTube, anyone still watching. Can trust ever be rebuilt after betrayal? Would you ever play the same game to understand your partner? What's your line between testing and breaching trust? Because maybe the real healing begins when we stop asking, "Why did you cheat?" and start asking, "How do we stay here together after?"